Hey guys, John Loxley here. So recently YouTube released a creator blog, the whole addressing creator feedback and an update on my 2019 priorities. You guys have probably heard about this already. There's been a few people, a lot of people, basically everybody has done a video about this, but this is a video that I've been thinking about doing for a while. And so I just wanted to throw my 2 cents in the ring. Here's the issue, is that YouTube is basically strangling itself. They don't realize that's what they're doing. No one's setting out to destroy the company, but you know, it's probably the philosophy of they have to kill it in order to save it. They have to save it from us. So here's partly why I'm making this video, because I want YouTube to be saved. Helping YouTube does help itself help us, but they're probably not going to listen. They're certainly not going to listen to me. So I have a few bullet points that I've written down, and hopefully this video isn't too rambling, but I am going to go through them, and hopefully there's some kind of semblance of order. Joining me is Jack. If he could just move his tail a little bit. Alright, so. Need coffee. Desperately need coffee today. Okay, so the first thing is, if you look at YouTube's direction, where do they want to go? So right now they're trying to become TV, right? They want to keep the approved creators. They also want to push an agenda. So it's kind of like this amalgamation of what's happening to Star Wars, what's happening to TV. They're basically trying to fight with everybody, right? They're competing on all fronts. They have a multi-front war going on. They also want to have kid YouTube, which they're pushing fairly aggressively whenever you log in. It's like, hey, have you tried the kids YouTube app? And it's probably for marketing, but it could be agenda related as well. I know some people have brought up the whole, well, if they're pushing the LGBTQ plus P agenda and they have the kids YouTube thing, surely those aren't related, but maybe they are if they're pushing the agenda, right? They're trying to change the culture. So one of the big problems is they've been very shady and non-transparent about what they're doing. This letter is a perfect example. They say one thing, but they're speaking about something else. They're talking about openness, but they're talking about openness by removing problematic content. Hey, once we get rid of all the people that disagree with our position, we'll be free. The problem is those people that disagree with their position are the majority of people. Now, maybe it's not that bad. This is a video about how to save YouTube, after all. So what have they been shady about? Basically, things like secret ratings, deprioritizing tags and videos, generally hiding things from creators. Obviously, on the one hand, they don't want to make all that stuff public because they don't want people manipulating the algorithm for their own personal gain. But on the other hand, if you don't tell people what they're going to get lit up for, then it's really hard. And if you're keeping the fact that you're suppressing people a secret, it's going to make you look like an asshole. It makes them, YouTube itself, look untrustworthy, which they are at this point. Let's not pull punches about this. If they're hiding what they're doing, it's probably not something normal people would agree with. You know, if you're like, hey, everybody, I'm going to give you more money, everyone would be like, yay. If they're like, hey, we're going to figure out how to give these guys more money. Like, no one ever hides good stuff. They always hide the stuff they don't want public. So, they're deprioritizing content based on the current culture, and that's actually going to kill YouTube if and when the culture shifts. It's going to. In fact, I would argue that their attempt to change the culture, you know, they've got video of people from Google saying that they want to prevent another Trump situation. They want to basically stop Trump from getting reelected. That will only galvanize people and make people more against them. You know, Ted Cruz, I believe, is starting, well, he's talked about investigating stuff. You know, I'm not sure where in the thing it is, where how far along that is, but he's looking into censorship, and he's looking into, you know, voter manipulation and stuff like that as well. I mean, maybe he's setting himself up for a 2024 presidency, but even so, it's a discussion that needs to be had. If you have a corporation, arguably one of the biggest corporations in the world, basically saying, hey, we can't let the election go a certain way, that's bad. That's really, really bad. Right. The YouTube is trying to change the culture. The YouTube is trying to change the culture itself. Possibly the whole get woke, go broke thing. I don't really like that phrase because it's not necessarily true. These companies have huge, bank accounts. They're not going to go broke. They're just going to lose a bunch of stuff. And the problem is if they're all doing it, you sort of have to pick your poison. But, Gillette is going up against Dollar Shave Club, and as far as I know, Dollar Shave Club hasn't told anyone they're bad for being a man yet. So they're kind of giving market share to their enemy. Now, YouTube doesn't have market share, or does it? I think we'll talk more about that later. Hang on a sec. Okay, so one of the big things that I've realized that most people maybe haven't yet is the rules themselves, right? They basically complain that the rules are too vague, this and this and that. I just want to go off on a little tangent for a second. Those of you that have apartments or other issues or other obligations, like leases, have you read the whole thing? And the reason I ask that is because my apartment has a clause in there about the condition of my vehicle. They don't want rusty looking vehicles. They don't want vehicles with bad paint. They don't want old vehicles. They don't want dented vehicles. They don't want, stuff on your porch or balcony or anything like that. Basically, they have all these rules that know that if they actually enforced them, they wouldn't be able to have anybody in the apartments. And it struck me because I read it and I was like, what the F? What is this? And that's basically like what most of the rules for any company or even the law are. There's no conceivable way they could enforce the rules for everybody, and in fact they don't. One of the big complaints in general is that people don't enforce the rules fairly and evenly across the board. Why'd you do it with this dude but not with this dude? Right? Flip it around the other way. They're not trying to enforce the rules. These are weapons they can use to get rid of people that they want to get rid of. Right? The guideline, especially with YouTube, the guideline stuff is vague intentionally so they can just terminate your channel if they want. That's why. It's like they want to find a reason to get rid of you. You stay on their good side, maybe they'll keep you. Get on their bad side, you're gone. Why? Well, they'll figure out a reason. And the rules typically only apply to those they don't like or those that embarrass them. Although not all the time. James Charles is a big one. Got caught out for potentially raping dudes, right? Like extorting them into having sex with him, right? Allegedly. To be fair, I don't know. It's just the rumor, but he's still on top, isn't he? I mean, the YouTube rankings, not the general stuff. He's also gay. YouTube's trying to push an agenda. Goes hand in hand, possibly. So here's the thing, right? YouTube is basically, they lack a clear direction. It seems like they don't know what they're trying to do. Judge them based on their actions, not on their words. That's another thing that I figured out. Words are cheap. This letter that Miss, I'm not sure how you pronounce her name, Wojcicki. I mean, first off, do you think she wrote that? Be real. She's the CEO of a multi-million-dollar company. She's not going to sit down and actually write something. Probably. More than likely, she had someone write it for her, read it over, yeah, this looks good, and then signed off on it. Those aren't her words. She's representing that they are, certainly, but I'm sure she didn't. Words are cheap. Words are super cheap. Think of all the people you know that are just liars. They'll be like, oh yeah, let me borrow $5, I'll pay you back. They never do. Actions are what matter. That person that actually does pay you back, they're worth trusting to loan more money to. People that always say they do but never follow up or follow through, You can't trust them. You have to judge them based on their actions. And that's the same thing with this situation. Look at what YouTube is doing. Now, I don't want to come down on them too hard, right? They are... I don't know. If they don't know what they're doing either, then that's an issue, right? But judge them based on their actions. That's my point. You know, they put up this statement that they want openness, but then if you read it, it's basically like, let's get rid of all the people that disagree with us because we believe in openness. It's the whole 1984 ignorance is strength, freedom is slavery thing. It's very doublespeak. So, and that's the thing. It's like words are cheap, but they're telling you what they're going to do. They are telling you what they're going to do. So be aware. Be aware. So here's the thing. Let's talk about YouTube's strengths for a minute. Or one of them. They're the only platform, as far as I'm aware, known for high-quality fan-made content. Very few things that rely on user-made content are good. Very few. You know, even those that are good, they don't last. You know, Little Big Planet's probably the best one I can think of. That was supposedly pretty good. It was a platformer made by Sony that relied on consumers of the product creating the levels, right? Is it still around? I don't know. I don't know if it's still popular or not. I never bought it. It's not something that interested me because user-made stuff is usually trash. YouTube, on the other hand, well, don't get me wrong, 90% of stuff on YouTube is probably garbage. Just same thing, look at Twitch or any of these other platforms. 90% of it is garbage. But that 10% or whatever on top is good, is really good. You know, so as far as I know, it's the only one that, if it's like, oh, where's fan-made content? Where can I go for that stuff? YouTube. There's other platforms, certainly, that have video, but as far as user-made stuff, YouTube, right? Here's the other thing, right? YouTube, the viewers are also the creators. Harming the creators harms the viewers. You're basically hurting your audience. You're hurting your people to protect them. Right? It's like what Twitch is, what's going on with Twitch right now. They're booting all their creators and stuff because they're going for the short-term strategy of extra ads, you know, thoughts, because they bring in money. And it's like, yeah, in the short term it works, but you get these people that are not driven to success. You know, CEOs that get hired, they're like, oh, let's boost sales for this quarter by gutting and pillaging our company in the short term, and then they go elsewhere and leave it in someone else's hands. So not a really smart strategy. Susan's been with the company for a bit, though, I think. But we'll see. We'll see where that goes. I think, for what it's worth, I think she's actually committed to the company. Which is, like, I'm not... You gotta give credit where credit is due. She seems committed to the company itself, but her agenda, I believe, is incorrect. Let me... hang on a second. So here's the thing. YouTube, their success currently is because they have a lack of competition. That's not going to last forever. Apparently the biggest competitor to YouTube is Facebook. How did that happen? I don't know. But Facebook is a giant. They're going to take over everything. And if YouTube is going to burn its creators, the only reason people are still on YouTube is because they don't have another choice. Same thing with most of these other platforms. The only reason they're there is because they do not have a great alternative. People are working on that. It's only a matter of time. It's probably not going to be BitChute. Sorry, guys. It's just probably not. If anything, it might be Facebook. It might be some other upstart that we don't know about yet. It might be Mixer. I really thought Twitch was going to compete, because Twitch started doing the video premieres and allowing you to upload stuff. And then I think the new CEO took over and he's like, storage space is expensive. Let's just do ads. Let's just double our ads and make more money that way. And they did, and then Twitch immediately removed itself as a competitor to YouTube. Understandable. Now I think YouTube's making the right direction, or the right decision, by going in the live streaming direction as well to compete with Twitch. Because they can compete with Twitch, but Twitch can't compete with YouTube. It's not a bad idea. But here's the other thing. We talked about YouTube wanting to become TV earlier, right? What people are cutting the cords of. TV, like the thing people don't really watch. You know who watches TV? Grandparents. And that's not even that old. You're talking like people that are in their 50s. Late 40s, early 50s are grandparents. They watch TV. But what about their kids? The 20-year-olds. Everyone's watching on their smartphone now. You know what's bad? Is I say, oh, you gotta see this video. It's great, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, where do I look up that video? They never say, oh, it's on YouTube? YouTube has lost their brand. They've lost it. Now when people tell me about videos they see, oh, it's on Facebook. That's bad. That's real bad. So YouTube's trying to compete with TV, which is, as far as I'm concerned, another dying platform. And they're doing this by removing controversial content. So they're trying to become more mainstream, more generic, get rid of variety. They want to be just like TV, which is what people are leaving. They don't want to stand out. Now I understand, right? They're pursuing advertisers, and it's entirely possible they're getting strong-armed or blackballed or something like that. But don't become more generic. That's the wrong thing to do. People that used to watch TV, remember MTV when it was actually new? And all of a sudden everyone's like, oh my god, MTV is the most amazing thing ever. It was the only one that was doing music videos. Now it has reality shows. Do people say, hey, let's go watch MTV? I'm sure some do, but are those people driving sales? Is MTV known in general for being high quality? I don't think so. Here's the other thing, right? Mainstream media views YouTube as a threat. So why is YouTube promoting mainstream media? That's my question. People are cord cutting, so YouTube wants to become what people are leaving. They're trying to compete with mainstream companies on their terms for their viewers. And I understand on that side it's a little, it's understandable, right? It's like, oh, well, you don't want to pay for cable. You can come over to YouTube and see all the stuff for free that you're going to leave TV for. That's not a bad strategy, except you can't see that stuff. It's a bit like Hulu. Hulu sucks, in my opinion. Oh, go to Hulu for free. You can only, all you have to do is watch ads. Oh, great. Well, what can I find on Hulu? You can find Season 2, Episode 7 of this one series, or Season 6, Episodes 7, 8, 9, and 12. Like, maybe if you pay for it, it's a little better. But I don't think it has full seasons of stuff, does it? Even if it does, you still have to watch ads, right? Like, I don't know. I have no interest in Hulu because the base experience was such utter shite. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm sure it's all about the advertisers, and I'm sure it's all about the views. So you can take the views and you can go to the advertisers and you can say, look at all these views. So we can make more money from the advertisers or charge more to the advertisers. And that's fine. But if you have to fluff your numbers, which I guarantee they're doing, That's a sign your company's doing this. YouTube's also partnering with Amazon, and Amazon owns Twitch. And I understand maybe that's to promote the Fire Stick or whatever, which you can also view TV on. Or YouTube on, or whatever. I can't talk, but it's something to think about. YouTube's in bed with all their enemies. It's not smart. It's not smart. So I have several hypotheses about what's going on. My first hypothesis, YouTube doesn't want new creators. I'm just going to read them all first, and then we'll talk about them, right? YouTube also changed its value from the expense for machine learning to profitable alternative to traditional media. There's a lot of words here. Well, don't worry, I'll go back. They also, I expect, want to reduce expenses by serving content instead of hosting, like TV, and reduce risk or increase profits by curating and sanitizing creators. That's understandable. I also believe they have no long-term planning ability. Okay, so back to the first, because these all kind of work in tandem, right? YouTube doesn't want new creators. What they want is to become TV. They want to become TV, they want to promote an agenda, and they want to feed people content. Now, they want to become TV, where unfortunately it's kind of a mess. We have to take all these together. So let's jump to the second one first, and that might clarify a little bit. YouTube was originally bought, and it was bought in an attempt to make it profitable. More than likely. But I think they overlooked its true value, which I think they kind of switched to a little bit. So once they bought it and it wasn't really performing, I think they probably changed gears. And I think the real value in YouTube is as a training opportunity, or whatever you want to call it, for the machine learning that they can provide. So Google, the speech-to-text thing, that was shit for a while. That's improved drastically now. Now it does voice recognition, it does facial recognition. It does facial recognition on Jack here. It can tell the difference between cats and dogs and other animals. Me uploading this video, it analyzes my face. It can tell my facial expression. It can probably tell my heart rate. That's what Microsoft was trying to do with the Connect 2 or whatever, right? To gauge people's response to advertising. Who knows what they're going to do with their machine learning and their AIs and all that stuff that they're trying to do. But everybody uploading content, voice, speech, video, facial stuff, all of that is invaluable data given to them for free that they don't have to pay for. And it's there in their servers that they can analyze at will. And that's the true value. Big data is the new big oil, right? People are giving them their data. And instead they're like, oh, can we make money on advertisers? What are you guys doing? What are you guys doing? They switched. So instead of looking at it as an expense, they look at it as a profit. They look at it as a productive business. No one's ever saying, well, you know, I gotta pay rent, but maybe I can make money off of this by having extra people live with me, and that way my rent is free. Most people don't work like that. Even if you do, that sucks. You know? There's expenses which you just say, well, I accept that I have to pay this money. Now, there's nothing wrong with defraying your costs, which is, I think, what they were trying to do originally. But I think they've lost sight of that, hence the lack of long-term planning. I think they're like all about we were profitable this quarter, we weren't profitable that quarter, while totally ignoring the fact that it should probably be an expense that they're making some money off of. So they want to reduce the expenses if they treat it like that. And even if they don't, they would want to make it as cheap as possible anyway. So they want to serve the content instead of hosting it, right? Like, so the ideal, assuming they basically become an extension of TV, is the cable creators produce all the late night shows, Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, all that stuff. And they just take it and they host that stuff. They don't want to host all this data that everyone's uploading because that takes a lot of money. That's a lot of storage. It's free hosting they're giving to everybody. But they're going to look at that as an expense. If they haven't yet, they will soon, I would wager. That's why they don't want new creators. They don't want other people uploading to their platform. They don't want people driving up their costs. They just want to be able to charge advertisers for money while having the eyeballs and promoting the agenda. They basically want what TV was, except for the smartphones, except for all the other opportunities, except for all the video games, except for all this. They want the old business model of cable TV before smartphones were so everywhere and did everything. I think that's bad. I think it's bad. But we're talking about how you can save YouTube, right? So let's go into the future predictions real fast. I expect this is what they're going to do in the near future if they haven't started it already, right? As the spiral speeds up. So it's like, it's a spiral, right? It's slow on top and then the faster it is in the middle because the faster you're going down. If my words made sense there. I don't know. It doesn't matter. So I expect they're going to try and cut costs by reducing the amount of new content and reducing the amount of creators, thus reducing the storage costs. I expect they'll kill older or inactive channels. Maybe they already are. I don't know. Now, this could be also under the guise of the community guidelines and stuff like that. That could be part of this, where they're tightening down on stuff that didn't used to be a problem. Oh, but now it is, because it's costing too much money, so we got to get rid of the stuff. That's... If you're focused on reducing damage rather than making money, or focused on reducing expenses instead of making money, that's not a great thing. It kind of reminds me of that. I should see if I can find it and put it up like right over here, where it's like the business, the growth of a business, and it looks like a circle, and it's like, you know, it gets bigger, and then as middle management comes in and starts eating the company from the inside, the expenses balloon because you have all these, you know, CEOs and administrators and stuff, and they basically kill the company and leave the profitability, you know, low. And maybe we're towards the end of that cycle right now. But it also explains more demonetization. More demonetization will drive more people away. Now, I think the people going onto YouTube is still going to be high because you still see news articles and things on TV that are like, oh man, people make so much money on YouTube. Was that? Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. So there's a little tail in the background. So I expect the number of people joining YouTube to still increase in the future, but I expect the demonetization is going to become stricter because they don't want those people. Especially the new people that don't know what they're doing, that make poor content. People like me. You know, I don't have super fancy content. I've only been doing it year and a half. Right? They don't want to give all these people time to become profitable. They just don't. They just don't. Probably raise the standards. Stricter standards are going to get rid of more people. Additionally, I expect them to hide people with high bitrate videos like gaming, right, because of bandwidth costs and other stuff. They're going to continue their tomfoolery, which is, you know, artificial creators, subbing or unsubbing people. You know, the more, if they can create artificial creators like the girl in a van, if they can do that, that's more thing, especially if they falsely subscribe people. They could be like, look at this video, it has 1 million views. so many subscribers, advertisers pay more money. And also, I expect them to do what Twitch did, which is more ads, more often. You know, it's like the arms race with the ads and the ad blockers and stuff. I expect that to only continue and get worse. So I think, due to their lack of planning, they have tunnel vision on reducing the expenses and increasing the profit at the expense of the long term. They're in damage control mode. So they're going to kill the long-term growth to prop up the model right now. And I expect this will only increase as the decline becomes more severe. And then you're going to start to see people panic. And that's not going to be good. Right? Okay, so this video is how to save YouTube from strangling itself or something along those lines. I haven't quite figured out a title. I wanted it to be more a little more positive, right? So I figured out some stuff on what YouTube can do to save itself. It might be too late. What's Jack over there doing? It might already be too late. I hope not. I think they can still turn it around. But I expect, just like with Ghostbusters, the female Ghostbusters, just like with Star Wars, just like with Gillette, all these, you have all these CEOs that they believe the company can serve them rather than the other way around. You know, they're going to use the company rather than the company growing based off their expertise. What are you doing, Jeff? It's probably getting into something I'm gonna have to go see in a minute. So how do you save YouTube? Well, get rid of this short-term gain for long-term loss strategy. Get rid of the pushing the agenda, right? Get rid of the, well, let's talk about individually specific things that you can do. Okay. Focus on helping YouTubers grow, right? Right now they're promoting news networks, CNN, major media stuff at the expense of small YouTubers. People don't go to YouTube for CNN. People probably are going to Facebook, I would imagine. I don't do Facebook. But the people that I work with that do, they're like, oh yeah, I get all my news from Facebook. So if YouTube is killing independent news channels in order to promote, they're not killing them, let's be fair, yet. They're just deprioritizing them. Which is something they said they were going to do in this recent creator letter. It's like, oh, we're going to promote authorized content and suppress problematic stuff. They didn't say they said they're going to get rid of things that violate the community guidelines, and those that don't violate the guidelines that they consider problematic, they're going to quietly hide, right? Then they're going to promote their agenda more, and they're going to promote authorized content like CNN, major news networks, the enemy. They're going to promote their enemy by killing the small YouTube channels. It's like if you're in the forestry business, you're in the logging business, and all you're trying to do is just cut down trees. But people are going out there. It's like a grassroots effort. Like, hey, we got to plant more trees. And you're like, no, you stop that. We're going to put salt in this earth so no trees can grow here anymore. And people are like, well, but then what are you going to do in the future when there's no more trees? You let us worry about that. This is our business. We know how to cut down trees. Quick, get some of those plastic Christmas trees and put those in the ground. That'll solve our problem. I jest, but that's kind of what it's looking like. So, focus on helping YouTubers grow. The only thing that separates YouTube from everything else are the creators. Figure out who the good ones are, even if you don't agree with them, and help them grow. Promote them. Do the opposite of what you're doing now, because what you're doing now is driving you into the ground. They have analytics. They have analytics they don't show us. I don't even look at the analytics, but people do. And just the little I've seen, it seems like an incomplete picture of all the stuff I'm sure they analyze. Help the small dedicated creators. You know, it's different. It's different to see someone that's like, hey man, sub to my channel, blah, blah, blah. And then you go and you check out their channel and they do, this is a real thing, one video, maybe a quarter, and it's just NBA 2K, and it's a shitty little camcorder video, and it's just nothing. Like, they're not gonna consistently produce content. They're not dedicated. They're small, but they're not dedicated. Those people, I would argue myself, I try and put a video out every day. It's not necessarily good, but I'm fairly dedicated, I would like to think. Pick someone other than me. Pick someone that is making good, high-quality content every day. Promote them. Promote them. I'm not saying promote me. Promote someone better than me. You know? Help the small ones. Not the large ones. Large ones are making you money now. But get your long-term planning in check. Who's going to make you money 2 years from now? 5 years from now? Is there going to be a YouTube 5 years from now? Well, if you're not growing your small creators, maybe not. Creators making money equals YouTube making money. Demonetizing people does not help. Advertisers, I'm pretty sure they say they give a shit. They do not. Game of Thrones, the last season, was the biggest freaking thing. I think they charged advertisers more than Super Bowl spots, if I remember right. Where advertisers are like, no, that show has titties in it. You can't advertise. No. There was big freaking money. Big money, because it was a big deal. It's all about the money. It's not about titties. If your controversial people are getting lots of eyeballs, Howard Stern was hugely controversial. Radio networks wanted to kick him off. They wanted to fire his ass. You know why they didn't? Because of the money. Everybody was tuning in to listen to him. You think they'd tune in if he was just like, here's your latest, blah, blah, blah. Talk about the same shit all the time, all that everyone else is doing. Just like TV. Just like MTV did when they wanted to become just like everybody else. Brand dilution, is that what that's called? Fuck, I'm out for like 40 minutes already. Also, I swear, that means I'm going to get deprioritized. Those hidden rating systems we were talking about earlier. Oh my god, he said a naughty word. They're promoting the YouTube Kids thing. I understand it. But are you going to make money off of... I mean, how much money are you going to make if YouTube is a kids-only platform? You know? And I already talked about this point. Have variety, generic is boring. You need variety. Variety is the only reason people come here. It's your selling point. Maybe your tagline, because I noticed YouTube got rid of the broadcast yourself trademark, or whatever you want to call it. Maybe they should be like, we're just like everybody else. Just like TV with less stuff. Like, okay. I want to see, you know, they have Jimmy Kimmel clips. Does Facebook have Jimmy Kimmel clips? I don't know. Probably. Or worse, are people being hosted and then linking to Facebook? Because I know they can track that. That would be a real kick in the teeth, wouldn't it? You're hosting stuff that people are going to Facebook for and not your platform? Still, you could turn that around. YouTube. If you have variety, people are going to be like, oh man, I should go to YouTube for stuff. I mean, you can use that to your advantage. Artificially grown creators are boring and suspicious. Yes, a lot of people are dumb. A lot of them won't be able to tell that something is fake. Right? But how many of those people are watching YouTube? I don't know. Like I said, the main majority of the audience, I think, is creators on YouTube. Maybe not the majority, but a lot of people. And they'll be able to tell. A lot of people will be able to tell, to be like, that's fake. That's why the whole thing got pointed out as soon as it happened. Like, that's fake. You know, she opens the cabinets and there's those, correctly placed, here's my shampoo bottle. Look how the label is pointed right towards the camera as soon as I open the cabinet. And the soap's not like all running down the side of the bottle or anything. It's clean, it's pristine, it's full, it's got the proper, it's got the proper level of use so that it looks like it's been used, but it's not like empty. Come on. Come on. Allow and encourage free speech before you are forced to. BitChute's whole thing is that they allow free speech. They allow uncensored speech. Now they don't allow everything. They say they do, but they're going to suppress stuff once they get big enough. If YouTube, allows all speech, even unpopular speech, especially unpopular speech, that's the whole point about free speech. Free speech protects the unpopular speech. I know that's, probably not going to happen. Let's be straight. It's probably not, because we're the enemy. Right? Bad mindset to be in, leading your company. When the users of your company are the enemy, that's not a good place for a company to be in. If any board members, I assume there's people higher than the CEO. Like, I'm not saying fire her, but under her reign. And now, bear in mind, the person before her could have policies and stuff that are affecting the current whatever. I don't know how that all works. But you should be watching what she's doing. She's promoting an agenda at the expense of the current user base. Reinstate Alex Jones. That's never going to happen either, because all these people are in bed with each other. YouTube and all the Silicon Valley people, it's like a peer pressure thing, which is really weird. Why should it be peer pressure? You're all competitors. I mean, I get you're probably all friends. All the CEOs of these big companies and stuff. And oh, if Twitter's doing it, if Facebook's doing it, I gotta do it. Well, Facebook is trying to drive your business into the dirt. So is Twitter. So is TV. You may be friends with them, but they'll take your market share if they can. You don't have friends like that. They're not friends. Rival companies are not your friends. Now, interestingly enough, there was this website, I don't know if it's still up, that showed which board members were on different boards, right? So you'd have individual people, and it was like a web where this guy would be on all these different boards of all these competing companies. Kind of interesting. Kind of interesting. Stop pushing agendas. I think I've mentioned that already. Just stop. It's not going to happen. That's why I'm saying YouTube is going to keep being like, choking itself. Oh, someone's choking me. I don't know who it is. Oh, why are my hands choking myself? I don't know. More transparency. Apply the rules equally. Again, probably won't happen. The rules are there to fuck with the people they want to fuck with. Let's be straight. That's why they're there. All of a sudden, going from these are weapons to get rid of the people we don't like, that's a totally different mindset than these rules are to set the standard for fairness so that people know the standards. That's totally different. Make a YouTube adult. Or YouTube mature or something like that. I thought that's what YouTube Red was at first. But YouTube Red was like that stupid paid subscription thing where you could get like Netflix kind of on YouTube. I mean, it wasn't Netflix, it was like YouTube's competing with Netflix. And it's silly. They tried something similar, YouTube Premium, or I don't know. Look, if you're gonna go, if you want to save your company, allow mature rated stuff. I'm not saying porn, although that maybe. What do you think drives the economy and the internet and a lot of stuff? Porn is one of the biggest revenue generators anywhere. Might be worth looking into. Netflix, who you wanted to compete with, they have mature rated stuff. Love, Death, and Robots showed graphic sex. Well, to be fair, it wasn't like P and V. It was implied, but it was like softcore. So they showed boobs. I think YouTube could show boobs. They already have stuff that's like, you have to be over 18 to see this content. Blah blah blah. You know? Do something like that. I mean, you know, it's not going to work with them promoting the kids thing. Because how else are you supposed to babysit your children unless you hand them the phone and say, watch whatever YouTube videos you want? You know, you don't want them to accidentally go into, you know, dude on dude or whatever. Even if that is the agenda you're pushing. I don't know. Another thing, and this won't happen, is Content ID revenue split based on the percentage of the video itself. I know they could do it. I know they could. Why don't they is an issue. That's the real question. They kind of did something like that where manual strikes don't count if it's less than 5 seconds or whatever that is, but here's the thing. Let's say it uses 10 seconds of audio from some Madonna song. And that's, you know, 2% of the video. Give the creators of the Madonna, or, you know, the owners of the rights for the Madonna song, 2% of the ad revenue. I don't see why that's so hard. I mean, let's be fair. They probably have YouTube over a barrel. You know, MGM, the Recording Industry of America, the Motion Picture Association of America, they're very litigious, however you pronounce it. They're sue happy, from what I understand. So it's understandable, but YouTube is owned by Google, and they should have the money to fight that stuff, if they want. Who knows? But anyway, that's the things that I think you could do to save YouTube. Unfortunately, like I said at the beginning of the video, fuck, we're at 50 minutes. I ramble. I'm sorry, hopefully this was entertaining. We're basically done, though. We're basically done. It's like a... Look, YouTube is strangling itself. They're doing it slowly. They're doing it because they believe... It's the SJW mindset. You know, it's the... They believe they are the victims, and that it is other people's turn to be the victims, right? And that they want to help people that are also victims. That's why in Miss Susan Wojcicki's letter or whatever, she talked about, we have to promote creators like this person, woman, this person, woman, this person, woman, this person, woman, this person, gay, this person, trans. All these victims, they have the victim mentality. And I'm not saying bad things haven't happened, but promote promoting an agenda messes with the natural... That's not the right way to say it. People aren't going to YouTube to see agenda-related stuff. Sometimes they are. Some of that's interesting. But people go because they want to see, and the natural algorithm or whatever, what's going to be recommended based on their interests, you muck that up, and people aren't going to come anymore. You get rid of creators, you become generic, you court TV, you court your other enemies that are only trying to destroy you, and then you do stuff that kills your growth, your future growth especially, and YouTube won't survive. It's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time before Facebook or... You think Hollywood would love to have like a YouTube related thing? I bet they would. I bet they would. Whatever YouTube's trying to do with being the indoctrination station like TV, like we don't want people to upload their content. We only want them to come and watch our stuff, which is pushing an agenda. If that was going to work, other people probably would have done it by now, I would think. So you gotta turn it around, YouTube. You gotta do this. Like I said, I don't really think they will, but it's not up to me. Only the future will tell. Anyway, guys, that's it. Sorry, it was kind of a dark... It's supposed to be a little bit more of a kind of positive video, I guess. You know, I want to... But you can watch it as many times as you want. People can go back and through and pick stuff out, and yes, they should do this. No, they shouldn't do this. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever. It's my thoughts. I don't know what will happen. Everyone's worried. There's a lot of fear out there for the future of the platform because a lot of people, you know, it's their hobbies, like me. Like, for me, this is a hobby. I'm not making any money off this. But there are people that their livelihoods are at stake because of this. And we'll see. We'll see. It's like Machiavelli said, you establish your reputation, and then it takes a while for that reputation to go away. I think we're in the second part of that, where the reputation's going away. It's slow, but it's happening. It's happening. So that's all for today, guys. Thank you guys so much for your time and attention. I hope you guys made it to the end of the video. I was trying to make it a 20-minute video, to be honest, but I like to ramble. So I'm going to try and put something interesting up over here. And that's it. That's it, guys. I hope to see you guys next time. Till then, guys, take care.